Welcome, you lovely souls, to our #translation wishlist. And I say our because I practically counted your votes for the localization wishlist, because I don't have any other hobbies. Please don't judge. So I will sum up the top 6 games you voted for and add my top 5. Though sadly, it's of course just a snapshot of the tweets I saw until Wednesday. The list starts with the most popular game, that is of course Shuen no Wish. And as we all know what it's about, I'll just link my review of it so you can go watch it later, if you live under a rock and haven't heard of it yet. The second place I didn't expect. It's Clock Zero. It's about a 12-year-old girl that suddenly starts having dreams about a future world that lies in ruins, and soon realizes that the things that happen in her dreams also affect the real world. Meanwhile, she and her best friend are made to attend extra classes at school for kids with problems, and that's when those two worlds intercept. This game has mostly positive reviews and is known for a gripping time travel story that will make you cry for hours. But as a consequence, it doesn't have so much romance. So should you just play it in Japanese as long as it's not localized? And I would say yes, because the school setting probably makes it easy to play in Japanese. The only difficulties could pose the time travel thematic that could become a bit more complicated, and you would have to pay attention to this. Also, there are some language-based minigames, but they aren't too difficult. The third place is a bit less surprising. It's Nil Admirari no Tenbi. Some of you might already know the anime, and that might also be a reason why it's been so popular in this vote. It's about a girl whose brother tried to commit suicide, and it's soon found that a series of incidents is caused by books who can make their reader do something totally out of character. And after the shock of seeing her brother trying to commit suicide, the MC gains the ability to see like the aura of those cursed books, and therefore is assigned to a special unit to investigate those incidents. This game is known for 2 things. First, Satoi's pretty art, and second, the steamy scenes. Still, the story is supposed to be rather decent, and even better together with the fan disc. That's supposed to close some plot holes. Some of the characters apparently are a bit controversial, but overall it's supposed to be enjoyable. Should you just play it in Japanese? You could, if you are on an intermediate level, because it's set in the Taisho area and has some more complicated dialogue, but not too overly complicated like Shuen no Wish. So unlike Clock Zero, I wouldn't recommend it if you are a total beginner, but if you're on an upper beginner or better intermediate stage, you could definitely go for it. The next 3 games on the list are all broccoli games, and they all share the same number of votes actually. The 4th place would go to Jack-Jan. It's about a girl that enrolls in the theatre school that is only supposed to be for boys, and therefore she has to hide her being a girl, and the story is about how friendship develops into romantic love and how the MC develops in this education. It's worth mentioning that the artist and I believe a writer of Tokyo Ghoul worked at this project. This is one of the games that also has gameplay elements like rhythm or music minigames. Should you just play it in Japanese? Definitely. You can check out the demo that is available on the Japanese eShop, and there you'll see the language is rather easy. For an upper beginner, it should be totally manageable. And I believe another strong point is that the heroine is voiced, so it will be much easier to understand, read and listen to the game. In number 5, I include all the Utanokrin-sama games. This game is probably also more known in the West due to the anime series, and at least the first game is quite similar to the series when the MC starts to attend a music school as a songwriter and has to work with future idols to fulfill an assignment, and in the later games she also writes songs for idols. So you can guess it's an idol game with a lot of comedy elements and a wide variety of characters. And it also does have gameplay elements. Could you just play it in Japanese? Also, yes. Similar to Jack-Jan, it's rather easy and has no complicated dialogue as it's in a slice of life setting. The last broccoli game is Kamigami no Asobi. It's about a girl who finds a magical sword at her parents' shrine and then is transported to a world that Zeus created to educate his gods, and she is supposed to teach the gods about human emotions, especially love, but of course the catch is she isn't an expert in this field herself. I believe this game is partly story and character driven, and it's rated COD, meaning mature, so there is supposedly also some steam in it. Could you play it in Japanese? I also guess because it has this fantasy god topic, there are some more difficult vocabulary, but I peeked a bit into the promotional material, and there's also a lot of day-to-day talk. Overall, it's probably a bit more difficult, but also doable for even lower intermediate learners. To sum it up, if you don't want to wait for localization and are also learning Japanese, you could definitely try out Clock Zero, Jackajan, and Utano Prince-sama, because I believe those 3 games are even suited for absolute beginners. I know you will take a while, but maybe that's better than not playing the game at all. Now we come to my personal picks. And I also agree with Shu and Nebuch because the hype is real and so many people are wishing for a translation, and Neil Admirani because it's already famous with the anime, and I think the Western audience prefers some Steam. And that's why my third pick would be Jako no Laila. See it there? The reason why I like and would like more people to get to know this game is the special setting. It is set in the Far East, where you play as a dancer who is actually a spy, and the story sets off with her having to investigate about political intrigues. It's partly plot and character driven, and as I said, infamous for its amount of steam. Apart from that, I totally adore the setting and the art. I screenshotted every background because they are all so pretty and special, and the music perfectly fits this Orient motive of the game. Should you play it in Japanese? Because as it's a bit older, a localization is kind of unlikely. Due to the political topics, there is some more complicated vocabulary, so I would only recommend it for intermediate learners. The next game I was surprised wasn't higher on your wish list is Diabolik Lovers. It has a very famous anime, and that's why many people already know about it. In short, the series is about a rather submissive heroine dating sadistic vampires. And I'm actually surprised it's not localized yet because it's so famous and successful in Japan and even in the West, and so many people are craving for a localization. So maybe with the Grand Edition on the Switch they'll think about a localization. Should you play it in Japanese? Also yes! And I'm happy that so many games on the list are suitable for beginners, and so is Diabolik Lovers. For upper beginners, you should totally try and play it. Oh, and if you're interested in reading those unlocalized games together, someone in my Discord suggested to make a book club, so if you're interested in something like that, feel free to visit my Discord. And the last game that is still rumored to be the secret Idea Factory title, but I don't know, My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom. It also has a very famous anime, and one of the rare cases I know of where the anime actually existed before the Otome game. So the Otome game is kind of the adaptation of the anime, and it will be released in Japan on the 23rd of December, so perfect for Christmas. I expect it to be similar to the anime, like a romantic comedy that is more character driven maybe. And it also has a voiced heroine. That means it will be easier to play it in Japanese. But concerning the language, I can't say anything more because there's no promotional material published yet. But I expect it to be manageable for lower intermediate learner because the story can probably become a bit more complicated, but there should also be a lot of day-to-day talk. I hope this list was in any way helpful for you, and if you want to get into playing Japanese Otome games, you can watch my video about other games that I think are suitable for beginners. See you then, bye!